Blazers win. Blazers win. We just watched the Trailblazers beat the Rudy Gobert led Minnesota Timberwolves. The tallest guy from France in Minnesota couldn't get it done against our Trailblazers. Damian Lillard, 36 points, 8 assists, 15 of 15 from the free throw line. Anthony Simons, big time bounce back game, 31 points.
Yeah, I
Nurkic,
mean,
15 rebounds too.
yeah. And Gobert just didn't have anything on Eubanks, you know. Eubanks was out there just throwing down poster after poster, 5 for 5 in 20 minutes. I mean, if he can give us that while Nurk's on the bench, we're looking all right, you know. So yeah, I mean, everyone seemed to play a really good game from the very beginning. It kind of reminded me of that Denver game. It was a lot of back and forth. Both teams came out pretty amped up and really wanting to win the game. You could see that the Blazers had some fire, feeling a little frustrated from that last game. We heard from in the pregame stuff, it sounds like Billups really kind of got after him after that game, which he needed to. And they were upset too, the players. So Anthony, obviously, completely different player tonight. He did get to play off the ball a lot too, which is something we keep coming back to. When he's more of a not just a catch and shoot, but a catch and drive, a catch and make a decision rather than trying to get the ball over half court while he's getting hounded. I just don't think he's ready for that. And tonight he was able to play more off the ball, and he looked really good. He looked like a really good number two, really good player alongside Damian in the backcourt. And yeah, this game turned out right where we wanted it.
It was a battle of the ants, right? You got
Yeah.
Anthony Simons, Anthony Edwards, but
Ant
we
Man.
brought Ant-Man versus Ant-Man, but we brought the fire ant. Inferno was out tonight, and he was really making up for last game where he had in my opinion, probably his poorest game in the NBA as a starter because he had a rough game last game, but he bounced back. I think it's interesting because last game, you said it, Riley. This game really did, in my opinion, parallel the Nuggets game in a couple ways. One, there was not a lot of defense being played again. Okay. So let's just put that out there. There was not a lot of defense on both sides. But what happened is we got down by about 10 in the third quarter, near the end of the third quarter, just like we were up on Denver by about 10 or 11 the last game. And that same stretch, the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth, we actually took over the game in that stretch, and that's where the game was won. We actually were getting stops. The Blazers were playing really aggressive. Billups actually switched in some zone effectively a couple times there down the stretch to kind of get key stops. The Timberwolves were turning the ball over, which helps when the Blazers are not turning the ball over. And then Dame, was Dame time. He was making great plays down the stretch, hitting his shots, and the whole team kind of rallied around. I also agree with the Drew Eubanks take. Eubanks brought so much energy tonight, and he had about three huge dunks that brought a ton of
Huge
energy.
dunks.
Nurkic was rebounding it well, but he was really slow on a lot of rotations tonight. Eubanks came in and brought a lot of energy. Totally.
Eubanks
Yeah.
is obviously taller than Sharp, but when he bounces, he looks like he gets up about just as high as Shaden sometimes. He gets way up there.
He does. His dunk on his poster on Gobert coming from that side dunker spot, just it was a thing of beauty. And it got the crowd fired up, and the crowd was really good tonight as well. That really helps the Blazers because Portland, has some of the best fans in the NBA, and they were really amped up near the end of the game tonight.
Looking
Yeah.
at the box scores, it looks like the bench held their own a lot better tonight. Last against the Nuggets, they were all like negative 15 or more on the plus minus. Tonight, they're all Shaden Sharp plus 18, Eubanks plus 16, Watford plus 11. So it seems like when the bench came in, they were able to hold their own, which is huge to not have Lillard, go sit on the bench and lose whatever lead we've built up automatically.
I'll go ahead, Riley.
Oh, most of the scoring still came from the starters, but the bench was able to come in and play with other starters and maintain, at least hold down the fort, which was a big difference. It was I don't think there was very many minutes where it was all the bench on the floor, because they
Yeah.
didn't really have any huge scoring numbers. Eubanks had a couple big shots. Sharp had a couple nice shots. It would be huge if Shaden could be putting up more like, 4 or 5 out of 8 rather than 2 out of 6. That's really all we need.
He struggled a little bit the last few weeks, but it's to be expected, I think, at his age and his development level.
Yeah. He's 19 years old, hasn't had barely any minutes. The fact that he's even getting on the floor and performing when he does, like, it's a pretty good sign for the future. I have faith that even if he develops a little bit and adds to the skill set, he'll be a much more complete player in a couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Still no Gary Payton too. Any word on him?
So a theme that I'm seeing is the Blazers' perimeter defense has been pretty shoddy, and it's kind of slinking a little bit. Now, we don't have to go too much into this since this is a post-game reaction video. However, I want to start banging a drum, and I want it to sound all throughout Portland. That drum is the Jimmy Butler drum.
Oh.
Jimmy Butler. He would solve the perimeter defense issues. He would solve the playmaking issues. Miami, I think, is last time I checked 11-14 or 11-13. 11-14. If Miami struggles, the Blazers need to do what they can to go get Jimmy Butler, even if that costs Ant. I know I love Ant, but shooters are a lot easier to pick up than players of Jimmy Butler's caliber. And Jimmy Butler would solve a lot of our problems.
Oh,
a big
man,
three of
dude.
Dame, Grant, and Butler. That's a good big three. Defense, playmaking, shooting. They check the boxes. I say go for it. That's just my thoughts going into this season. If Miami continues to struggle and the Blazers' perimeter defense can't hold up, that's the move I want for all in.
I was banging that drum earlier this summer, but I thought there was no way, with Miami being a perennial finals contender, I thought there was no way. If there was a way that we could swing for Jimmy, my goodness, that would change the Blazers' entire team.
He's older, but just from the holes that the Blazers have kind of shown early in the season, we need more playmaking. Obviously need that perimeter defense. He plugs those holes. I love what Simons has been doing for most of the season, but that would be the home run take, especially after the last couple games. What am I noticing? And I'm just seeing the perimeter defense and the playmaking. Jimmy is good at that. So I'm banging the drum. I'm starting it now. If Miami continues to struggle, you're going to hear it from me all season long.
Riley doesn't have anything to say on that. We'll talk about it more on Monday. We're going to do a pregame show on Monday before the next time the Blazers play the Timberwolves. So maybe Riley can collect his scattered thoughts right now, because I know he's a big Simons guy. He doesn't want to see him traded.
I'm riding too high on Simons 31 tonight to be thinking about getting rid of the guy. But
you're right.
Check in with me on Monday.
Yeah, he had a great game. Totally. I'm not trying to take it away from him. I'm just, for the holes that we have, that's the only thing I'm thinking.
I think it's official, though. There's a new Ant-Man. His name is Anthony Simons. Anthony Edwards' nickname should clearly be Goose from Top Gun. Everyone knows. But thanks for tuning in to our post-game reaction. Like I said, we'll be doing a pre-game show on Monday, so be sure to tune in. We might do it live. Still undecided there, but keep up with us and we'll keep posting new Blazers content. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.